The candy bar phone. Before touchscreens took over everything, this was the phone everyone had. A flat rectangular body, a small screen on top, and a physical keypad on the bottom. Nokia built an empire on this design. It was simple, durable, and did exactly what it needed to do. Some versions had a basic camera, a flashlight, or a color screen that felt futuristic at the time. Even today, stripped-down versions of this design are still sold in markets where people want long battery life and something that can survive being dropped on concrete. The flip phone. At some point, someone decided the phone needed to fold in half, and it worked surprisingly well. The flip phone had two panels connected by a hinge. The screen sat on the top half and the keypad on the bottom. When you opened it to answer a call, it felt satisfying in a way that swiping a touchscreen never quite replicated. Motorola's Razr became one of the most iconic phones ever made because of this form. Flip phones gave people a natural way to start and end calls, and they kept the screen protected when not in use. The design never fully disappeared, and modern foldables are in many ways its spiritual successor.
The slider phone. The slider took a different approach to the same problem. Instead of flipping open, the top half of the phone slid upward to reveal a keyboard underneath. Some sliders had the keyboard hidden horizontally, like a tiny laptop. Others had it hidden behind the screen vertically. Sony Ericsson and HTC made some of the most well-known versions. Sliders appealed to people who wanted a full physical keyboard without the bulk of a flip design. As touchscreens improved, the slider faded, but it had a devoted following while it lasted. The touchscreen smartphone. This is the phone that changed everything. When Apple introduced the iPhone in 2007, it removed the physical keyboard entirely and replaced it with a glass screen that responded to your fingers. At the time, it seemed like a gamble. Within a few years, it was the new standard. Android followed with its own ecosystem, and suddenly every major manufacturer was building flat glass slabs with large displays. The touchscreen smartphone made the internet, photos, music, and apps available in one pocket-sized device. It redefined what a phone was supposed to be, and that definition has stuck ever since.
The phablet. For a while, there was a real debate about whether phones were getting too big. Then people started buying the big ones anyway. The phablet sat somewhere between a phone and a tablet, with screens typically above 5.5 inches. Samsung's Galaxy Note line helped popularize this size range, and it came with a stylus that let users write and draw directly on the screen. Critics called the size ridiculous. Consumers bought them in enormous numbers. Eventually, the phablet stopped being a separate category because almost all flagship phones grew to match that size. The rugged phone. Most smartphones are built for carefully controlled environments. The rugged phone is built for everything else. These devices are encased in thick protective shells, sealed against water and dust, and designed to survive drops that would shatter a regular phone. Construction workers, hikers, military personnel, and field researchers tend to reach for these. Brands like Cat and Ulefone specialize in them. They are heavier and less stylish than mainstream devices, but they keep working in conditions where a normal phone would not survive an afternoon.
The camera phone. Every smartphone has a camera now, but some phones are built almost entirely around the idea of photography. These devices pack in multiple lenses, large image sensors, and sophisticated software processing to compete directly with standalone digital cameras. Huawei partnered with Leica. Sony brought its camera expertise into its Xperia line. Apple and Google developed their own computational photography systems that could produce sharp, detailed images in low light. The camera phone matters because for most people, it has completely replaced the point-and-shoot camera, and for many, even entry-level DSLRs. The gaming phone. The gaming phone looks like a standard smartphone from a distance, but it is built differently underneath. It has a high refresh rate display that makes motion smoother, a more powerful cooling system to prevent overheating during long sessions, and physical trigger buttons along the sides that function like controller inputs. Brands like Asus with its ROG phone line and Blackshark built their entire identity around this category. Mobile gaming had grown large enough to support hardware designed exclusively for it, and serious players were willing to pay for the advantage.
The foldable phone. The foldable is the most dramatic rethinking of smartphone design in years.
It uses a flexible display that physically bends, allowing the device to fold like a book or a flip phone, while still functioning as a full touchscreen. Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold opens into something close to a small tablet. The Galaxy Z Flip folds in half into a compact square. Other manufacturers have followed with their own interpretations. Early versions had reliability concerns and high prices, but the technology has matured steadily. The foldable exists because the demand for bigger screens and smaller pockets created a problem that only a bendable display could solve. The budget smartphone. Not everyone needs the most powerful chip or the best camera on the market. The budget smartphone exists to bring reliable mobile internet access to people who cannot or do not want to spend flagship prices. Brands like Xiaomi, Realme, and Motorola have built enormous businesses in this space, offering clean software experiences and capable hardware at a fraction of the cost. In developing markets, the budget smartphone is often the first internet-connected device a person ever owns. Its impact on global communication and access to information is difficult to overstate. The satellite phone. When there is no cell tower for hundreds of miles, the satellite phone is the only option. Instead of connecting to a local network, it communicates directly with satellites orbiting the Earth. This makes it functional in deserts, open oceans, remote mountain ranges, and disaster zones where all ground infrastructure has collapsed. They are bulkier than regular smartphones, and calls are expensive, but none of that matters when there is no alternative. Emergency responders, journalists in conflict zones, and researchers in polar regions all depend on them. More recently, consumer smartphones have begun adding limited satellite messaging features, slowly bringing this capability to the mainstream.